Hey guys, I'm here at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas, joined by Jools Watsham of Renegade Kid.
Hello!
Going on behind us is the Mario Kart reimagined thing. So why don't we go race?
Yeah, man.
All right, let's go.
Let's do it.
So we just got back from racing here with Jools Watsham. How you doing, Jools?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Doing good.
Excellent.
So I wanted to kind of jump right in, get this story rolling,
Yeah, man.
and start where any good story begins.
All right.
The beginning.
The beginning.
Where are you from?
I'm from England, near London, southeast England. That's where I'm from originally.
And how did you start moving towards making games?
I was going to graphic design college in, I think it was 91, which really ages me, but whatever, it's the truth. Yeah, I was in London, going to graphic design college, and I was kind of wandering around my lunch break one time, and I saw this massive building. It was like in Farringdon in London, called EMAP Images, and I was like, oh, and I had a video game magazine on me at the time. This is when everything was print. I mean, this was pre-internet. And I was like, oh my gosh, so that magazine was made in that building. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. And that was called The One at the time. It was an Amiga magazine in the UK. So anyway, to cut a pretty long story short, I walked in and asked for a job and ended up actually getting one. Because I was cheap and enthusiastic, that's why. My writing was awful. But so I started off in the journalist side, kind of writing reviews and news and stuff. I was about 17, 18 at the time, totally crazy, and it was a lot of fun. So I did that for about a year, and then that kind of, and while I was during while I was doing that, I was kind of working on my pixel art at home on the Amiga, and I kind of created a little, portfolio on a 3.5-inch disc, which we were using at the time, and I think I had about a megabyte of memory on there, I think, and that was my portfolio. So I sent that around to companies and stuff, and eventually got my first job as a video game pixel artist. So that was my first official, step into making games.
And walk us through there. So that was your first job. Where'd you go from there? What kind of stuff did you work on also?
So my first game was an NES game called Rodland. Just a few sprites and stuff for that. It's an NES game. It's now a coin-op conversion. And then did a terrible game called Time Slip for the SNES. We were basically ripping off Contra 3. Contra 3 is an amazing game, so we tried to copy that. And we failed miserably, but it was fun though. I mean, it was basically me and a programmer. That was it. That was the whole team making a SNES game. I mean, we added more people later, but that's how it started. So it was really trial by fire. You just jump in there doing the sprites, backgrounds, enemies, weapons, bullets. I was drawing everything. It was awesome, but designing it kind of at the same time. There wasn't like an official designer. So it was me and the programmer kind of figuring it out. So that was fun. So I was there for a year. That was in London. And then I ended up moving over to the States, Northern California, in '93. Joined Iguana Entertainment, and that was fun. And actually, in that same year, the whole company moved down to Austin, Texas, which is where we are today. This was in '93 as well. And so there, we started off doing Super Nintendo and Genesis games. Aero the Acrobat, Zero the Kamikaze Squirrel was my first lead artist job, which was really, really cool. Eventually moved on to N64, doing Turok. I didn't work on Turok, unfortunately, but that's one of the big games that we did. I did some multiplayer maps for Turok 2, so that can be my claim to fame with that one, I guess.
And Turok 2 was like a huge multiplayer game, so...
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good one. And what else did we do there? Oh, NBA Jam. I did some of the 2D work for the SNES and Genesis version of that. So a bunch of different stuff. I just spotted Mario and Luigi over there.
Oh, I can see that coming through the door.
And then from that, we started Renegade Kid 7 years ago. So we've been doing our stuff, which is crazy to think it's been that long. So we've been doing our own games as our own company, independently, for 7 years now. So it's myself and then Greg Hargrove, we are co-founders of the company. And then we have Bob Ives, who we've worked with from the beginning as a programmer. He's actually in Spain, funnily enough. An English guy living in Spain, but we worked with him remotely for the past 7 years. He single-handedly programmed Dementia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous.
Good for you.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
Bob, you're amazing.
Yeah.
Still working with him, and we kind of contract different people over the course of projects depending on what we need. But Matthew Gambrell, who's another huge-brained programmer who we work with, who did the Mutant Muds, and he does all of our 2D stuff as a programmer. So he's amazing as well. Single-handedly, did all of Muds, Bomb Monkey, Treasure So and he also helps out a little bit with some of our 3D stuff. So
cool. And your first game together was?
As Renegade Kid, it was Dementium the Ward. That was an interesting project. So that was us starting our company. We did actually work at King's Isle prior to starting Renegade Kid. They made Wizard 101. I remember like about 5 or 10 years prior to that, Greg and I going to McDonald's. I don't go to McDonald's anymore, but then we did. And we're in the parking lot, like I said, a couple of hobos, eating our food. And we're like, yeah, we should totally start a company. So fast forward, 10 years, we finally did it. And the way we did it was very shoestring, not that different to the way we do it now. Where we got contract work of actually weird pixel stuff. We were doing. I'll get into that in a bit if you want to, but this weird gig that both of us did during the day to pay our bills, to help pay any stuff to make the game, and then in the evening we would work on Dementia. It was definitely a sense of screw it, let's just go for it. Let's just make a bloody FPS on the DS. That's crazy. Why not? Let's just see if we'll either crash and burn or we'll do pretty good. If it crashed and burns, fine, we're going to get another job or try to, So we didn't have much to lose, and I think that probably helped our spirit in let's just go for it. Let's do what we want. Let's not care about it, and we've kind of carried that spirit, I think, to today, which I think does us pretty good. Works out pretty well.
I think so. Great games coming from you guys. So, using all your experience and all that, how would you recommend somebody who wants to get into the industry to get into the industry? I mean, you had a very unique start.
Yeah, it was a different era.
For sure.
Back in the day. I think there's 1,000 ways of doing it, and that's what's tough about our industry. Other jobs have one or two ways of getting in as a true path, and that's what you do. With this industry, it's really tough, because not only do you have loads of different roles, each role has sub-roles. You can be an artist, but what does that mean? Right. You're an animator, a texturer, a model, and then 10 other things you can think of. So it's really tough. So I think the key is, which is not easy, is figuring out what makes you tick. What do you love? What do you care about? And try and drill into that. That might not end up being the thing that you'll do, 10 years down the road, but it's something that maybe can get you in the door because you show passion. You'll put that passion into your portfolio or your examples of work, or whatever it might be, to present to an employer. And I think hopefully they'll see that. And even if you're young and green, and hopefully they'll see that you have that fire, that you want to do it, and they'll bring you on in a junior position at least. So that would be more of the kind of backdoor kind of way. Let's just work at home, perfect your craft and try and, not perfect it, but work on your craft and try and use that to get in. Obviously, going to college, if you're going the programmer route, there's a lot of programmers I know that are just hackers. They just learned it their own way in their bedroom and and just prove themselves just through sheer will. But I think today there's a lot of great courses for programmers. And that's good. A lot of companies want that degree. They want that degree in that certain subject, So I think it's not a great answer, I know, but it really depends on the subject you're trying to go for, and it's very varied. Game design, I think, is one of the toughest because it's so nebulous. What is game design, right? So I think with that, a great way to start would be level design, for example, because you can get your hands on, Unreal or Quake or some kind of editor, get in there, use the assets, build levels, and kind of you have something to show someone, something that someone can play to kind of go, oh, you did that, that's really cool. Or you do a mod of something, or you create a design doc. It's tough. There's 1,000 ways of doing it. It's just not an easy question to answer.
Right.
But I think the key is, and the hardest thing is to find out what you love to do and just go for it. Just do it, And even if you have to suffer and get a not so fun job while you're going for it, it'll be worth it. I mean, that's how we started the Renegade Kid. We did something we didn't particularly want to do, but hey, we need money. well, we'll do something we want to do, and it's worth giving it that shot.
Right. So I have a question from the audience, if you will.
Okay, cool.
When you're
yes, you sir, your question. Right.
Like who you talking? Trash can.
Yeah. That
When you're looking at maybe freelance artists or programmers, is it better for them to have a focus, like I do environment art or I do 3D models, or is it better that they're a jack of all trades?
Honestly, it's both. It'll depend on the company. I think now with a lot of indie studios, we need people who are jack of all trades because there's not much money, there's not many people, so everyone wears multiple hats all the time.
Right.
So someone who knows a little bit of everything, but maybe it's not a master in everything, or maybe there's a master in one thing perhaps, that's very valuable to small teams. However, if you're a big company like Sony, Activision, etc., they probably want a very specific talent, like you rig. And that's it, you're a technical artist, you rig, you do stuff, or you animate, or you texture, or whatever.
So what's Renegade Kid working on right now?
We have Moon Chronicles for the 3DS, which is a remastered version of our DS game, which is really actually very awesome. It's turning out really, really nice.
And episodic now.
Episodic, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Actually.
I mean, it's something that we've been excited about for a long time. I remember when I first beat Zelda Wind Waker. What an amazing game, what an amazing ending. That sequence was like multi-layered and fun. When it ended, I was like, oh, that was cool. I just want more. I don't need a sequel, I just need another little episode. Let's continue the same universe, the same characters, let's just keep it going. The technology wasn't there then, I mean, there's GameCube, what are you going to do? But now we're kind of at a point where we can do that, which is really neat. So Moon was perfect, like, yeah, great, let's take the first one, chop up into episodes, and then with the hope that season 2 we'll be able to develop these episodes as we go, which is, yeah, really exciting, really exciting. So hopefully it's a weird experiment for us. Actually, it's a weird experiment for Nintendo. They haven't done that yet, so it's going to be a learning process. That's one of those pitfalls. We'll see what happens. You know? How do you price that? How do you present that? How do you communicate that to people? Do people want it? It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah,
So.
Thanks, man. And then we have Treasure Knolls, which is another 2D platformer we're doing for the 3DS and Steam. Actually, we're going to try and do both at the same time.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Pretty busy.
Very busy.
Lots of hard work in the future, but
yes.
Like you said, your career's finally started. It's worth it. It's paying off for you guys too. So
yeah, we're having fun, man. We're always worried about money. We're not in a position where we're just sitting back, fat and rich, nothing like that, which is good. It's just healthy. I think if we were, then our games would probably be lazier.
Right.
So we're definitely fighting for it still, but that makes it fun.
So I like to end these interviews with one sentence to the aspiring game developers out there. What do they do? If you could say anything to them, what would you say? Just one sentence.
Don't give up. Just do it.
I like it. Thanks, Jools.
Yeah, man. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. Cheers.
Hey guys, thanks for watching the first in a series of interviews with game developers giving you advice on, game development. If you want to see more of these, make sure to let us know in the comments below and hit those like and subscribe buttons. We're also ramping up our social media pages, so head on over to Facebook or Twitter and give us some love. Until next time, see you around.
Try and learn from those mistakes and you become better. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right?
There you go. Thank you, Beyonce, or somebody.
Oh no, it was Kelly Clarkson.
Oh, you're right, it was Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, that's right. We know our pop songs.
Just got out-diva'd by Jools, all right.
You know what's funny? Small fact, a good friend of mine, actually we share the same birthday, Einar Pedersen, he's the bass player for her band.
Oh, wow.
Oh, snap.
Because she is from Texas, right?
She is, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, whatever, not tidbit there.
Thanks.